Let's take a moment to reflect on what resilience really means. Resilient leaders don't come from easy paths. They grow from experiences that challenge them, that shape them, strengthen them. When I think of the word or the term resilience, I think of things like adversity, I think of difficulty, I think of even suffering as defining and prerequisites for what it means to be resilient. You may think of an athlete, an NFL player, tears his ACL, is out for a year, grueling recovery, worked as hard as he could, got back in the game, and is stronger than ever. We hear these stories of triumph, or stories maybe that aren't filled with triumph. We think of family members who are battling chronic disease, parent battling cancer, who not only fights the exhausting treatments, but also manages to raise a family. Emerging, we may say, coming out of that experience is mentally and emotionally stronger. In all of our stories of resilience, it's not a fixed trait. It's a dynamic process, something that adversity initiates and practice builds. Through my own journey from working as a psychologist in Afghanistan, now over a decade in business, I've seen resilience unfold in a bunch of different ways. Some people hit challenges and falter, while others somehow grow strength from it. And that's fundamentally what interests me. Why is it that two people can experience something similar and one comes out stronger and the other may not? So in research, a lot of research for my upcoming book, Rethinking Employee Resilience, I identified 4 specific traits as crucial for fostering resilient leadership. The 4 of them are conscientiousness is the first one, optimism, emotional endurance, and social relationships, so COPES, which is COPES, which I think is a fitting term for this. We cover the cognitive, emotional, behavioral, and relational domains. They all fit into the COPES model. And you can take an assessment now on my website and see where you fall on the COPES spectrum. So let me talk about them briefly, each one. The first one is conscientiousness. That's the C. Conscientious people, careful, organized, and responsible. But what makes people responsible, right? So conscientious people are responsible. What are the sort of core constituents that make you responsible? So I pinpointed 4 key behaviors: agility, achievement, orientation, self-control, and commitment. Like Indra Nooyi, who's the former CEO of Pepsi, a prime example. During her time at Pepsi, she showed lots and lots of agility in terms of how she led, especially when consumer preferences started shifting towards healthier snacks. She had to change. And her relentless focus and dedication are perfect examples of what it means to not only be agile, but be a conscientious leader. Optimism is the second one. It's not blind positivity. It's a mindset that frames challenges as opportunities and holds a belief in your power to shape outcomes. Oprah Winfrey talks about how changing our thoughts changes our lives. She's known for saying that. And it's a sentiment that exemplifies optimism in action. Optimistic leaders set a tone of positivity, inspiring themselves and turning setbacks into growth. And that's what I saw over and over again in Afghanistan, where the people who could become resilient were able to frame challenges in terms of growth opportunities. Emotional endurance, this may be a new phrase for you. Think of it as mental endurance training. It's the inner resilience that allows us to keep going despite hardship. Stories like Jose Salvador Alvarenga, if you haven't heard, survived 438 days in the Pacific Ocean, holding on to purpose, holding on to hope. It's a real testament of how he endured such incredible hardship. And it was the quiet strength that kept him moving, even on the hardest days. Last but not least, maybe most importantly, social relationships. So our ability to relate to one another is the key in our ability to bounce back from adversity. It plays a vital role in resilience. Leaders who cultivate strong reciprocal relationships, that's the key. Tap into resilience through support, through shared purpose. Social support not only strengthens us, but really gives us perspective when we get feedback from other people, and empathy, allowing ourselves to put ourselves in other people's shoes. Now, resilience isn't something you either have or you don't have. It's a practice. It's a skill that can be honed and cultivated over time. So consider which aspect of COPES resonates most with you. What will you start practicing immediately today to strengthen one of those domains? And just as important, what will you explore further to deepen your leadership resilience?